Well, hello there, stamping friends. Oh, I've got this weird thing going on with my computer. Just a minute. Epson decides right now that it is going to download software. All right. Anyway, hopefully, there, we'll see if that shuts it off. Sorry, technical difficulties. Anyway, hello there. It is August 20th and it is Wednesday and it's time for a card making lesson. And it is my 37th wedding anniversary today. So, celebrations all around. The first thing that I'd like to do today before we get started in our card making lesson is to welcome anybody that comes online. And please use the comments if you are on Facebook to let me know who you are and where you're watching from. If you are on YouTube, please be signed into your Google account or your YouTube account. And you can also use the comments to let me know that you're here and where you're watching from. And if you're watching this on the replay, you can also use the comments, and I will monitor the broadcast after we're done today to see if you have any questions that I can help you with. But anyway, here's the good news. So I want to give a big shout out for those of you that answered my survey during this last week. I was very happy to get over 73 responses. That is awesome. I am looking at doing some new things this fall, and I wanted to do it with your feedback. So I'm not just throwing darts at what I think you're going to, you want to see and what will be most helpful to you. So your answers are really providing me a lot of insight so that I can go about building these new programs. Hi, Betty, and thanks for the anniversary wishes. Let's see. So anyway, in light of the survey, I did say that I was going to do drawing for a stamp set. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I have my phone here that I'm going to show you the wheel of names. And we're going to go ahead and do that drawing first. So let's just have this come around, and we're going to look at my screen here that I have to fire back up. There is the wheel of names, and I am going to have it spin, and we're going to see the winner is Samantha. So we have a winner. Congratulations, Samantha. Okay, now we're going to go back. And I'm sorry if I'm making you dizzy. Let's go and put this where we usually do to see our desktop. Okay. And so, Samantha, if you're watching today, I need your mailing address. So if you can send it to me at Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com, I would appreciate it. And I will also be sending you an email, Samantha, to let you know that I need your mailing address to send a free stamp set to you. Let me show you what that free stamp set is. So this is a stamp set that is now retired. You can't get it any longer. It is brand new. I haven't used it. It's called Adorable Owls. And I really thought with school starting soon, this was very appropriate. I think these guys are absolutely the cutest. So congratulations again, Samantha. I'll be dropping this in the mail to you. All right. So that takes care of task number 1. So today, based on the survey results and also something that I have been working on for a period of time, has been a new program, and it's based on using card sketches. And so it's going to be called Sketch and Go. And the number one response to the survey so far has been that people want card making ideas. And so I was thinking about how I could do that and not just show you a card or a whole bunch of card pictures, but also I want to do a little teaching and a little encouragement for your own creativity. I wanted a way that you could use the supplies that you already own. And plus, I wanted to add to your um, skills and help spark and inspire your card making. So I have found, as I've been building this new program, that I'm going to meet all of those objectives that I have, and I'll be sharing more about that with you over the next 2 weeks, because this program will actually go live and I will deliver the first cycle or edition, if you will, of the new Sketch and Go program on September, I believe it's September 3rd. It's the Thursday of that first week in September. So more information to come. I'm going to do something here at the beginning. Then I'm going to just update you on something going up with Stampin' Up! In the middle. And then I'm going to share a second card with you today. So I have a lot on deck. Anyway, hello, Sue. Nice to see you. And thank you so much for the anniversary wishes. Betty, hello. Sandy and Betty again. And Kathy, nice to have you all here. Okay, well, let's look first at what's the new thing that's been coming out now in a second catalog from Stampin' Up, and that is the sharing of sketches. And so in the annual catalog on page 24, there are a number of sketches that are here for cards and also for tags. So I decided to pick out one of the card sketches. Let me move it just a little closer so you can see. This is the card sketch that we're going to work from today. So it's actually a large oval, couple of circles, and then a smaller sentiment, I think, at least that's what it made me think of, label. Okay, so that is going to be where I'm going to begin today. So let me just set that to the side. And I am going to be using for this our 2025 to 2027 in color designer series paper. And the only reason I'm showing you the actual package is whenever I'm looking at designer series paper and I want to look at what colors I should be using, they're always written right here on the label. And so I'll just remind you and show you the new in colors that are going to be available for the next 2 years. So this is called Timid Tiger. And in this designer series paper set, you can get this for each color category we have in Stamping Up and also the in colors. And there's actually 48 sheets of paper. And each color has 4 designs, and these are back to back. So these are the front side, if you will, and here's the back side. So you have, 4 different designs that you can use, and I'm going to show you how I use them on one card today. But anyway, that is the Timid Tiger. This is Darling Duckling, and I love the patterns they did this year for these packets. This is Cloud Cover, kind of a silvery blue. This is Secret Sea. This is a real beautiful color between Night of Navy and Black. And then last is Strawberry Slush. Okay, so those are just a peek at what you would get in this in color designer series paper package, okay? And I decided that I'm going to do strawberry slush today. So let's go ahead and pull out some parts and pieces here. And the first thing I'm going to show you is in Darling Duckling, here is actually that card sketch in a very basic example. So I just decided that I was going to use the Darling Duckling as my card base. And then I decided I wanted to see all of the different patterns that were here in this set of Designer Series paper. And then I just decided that I was going to use 2 punches. So for the different size circles, I used a 1.5 inch circle and I used a 2-inch circle. So I'm going to just set those aside because I'm actually going to make this card with some changes in Strawberry Slush. And then I had a rectangle piece of paper, and I haven't used this forever. I know this is Creative Memories, but I don't have the corner rounder from Stampin' Up, but that's what I did to round the corners on a rectangle. And then I actually, to make this even easier, I used one of our ephemera packs of Greetings for All. And this is really cool because without stamps, all I'm using is Designer Series paper, a piece of cardstock, and then in this pack of ephemera, you get 3 different sheets, but 2 of each in this package to have as sentiments in your cards. So this is really going to make this easy. Okay, so I'm just going to set that aside. And then I'll just remind you these colors I'm using right now. Stampin' Up! Has a 15% off any Stampin' Up! Products that have the in colors in them. So this Designer Series paper, this cardstock are some of those products. All right, so the basic card, and then on the inside, I did the white that I usually do and used another scrap to just step this up a bit. So a basic card, this was so fast, but let me show you how I can use the same card sketch, but step it up. So one of the approaches that you can use when you want to step something up is, what 3 things could I do differently or change? So let's go through making this card, and then let's add 3 things to what I did with the Darling Duckling card and see what we can do to make it look different. So first, I'm just going to keep the card base the same, but use Strawberry Slush. So I'm just going to crease my card base here. And this is the regular 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4, and this fits in a medium envelope. And then I'm going to do the largest rectangle. Let me keep this so you can kind of see this for reference. So I am going to cut this with my trimmer. Let me get my trimmer out here. Got so many things on my desktop here. And so I'm going to cut this at 4 inches by 2.5. So let's see. I'm going to go the long. I want the stripes going up and down here. So we'll cut this at 4 inches. And then I'm going to cut it at 2.5 inches. Okay, and then this is to make that larger rectangle. And it was a rounded rectangle in this sketch. So remember, sketches are just the idea. You can do whatever you want, but I am going to go with the rounded rectangle and just use my corner rounder to take this from being a rectangle to a rounded rectangle, okay? So that's the first thing, which is like the way it was used before. And then I'm going to do the punch circles just the way that I did them before. So we're going to have, and now if you notice, I'm using scraps of what I already have, but I'm just going to do my 2-inch circle. And I think I like centering that flower right in the middle. So I've got a second piece for our card. And then I'm going to take a smaller 1.5-inch circle. And let's see if this scrap will work for me. It's just going to make it. Look at that. No waste there, but we have our 1.5-inch circle. I'm sorry, I want to do that on, let's see which side. Oh, I'm going to do this so I have actually these leaves. So let me do that again. I thought these leaves fit nicely in this punch as a focal image. Okay, so we have that. And then let me see, make sure I didn't mess up this. I want to be my scrap of 4 inches. Oh, good, this will work. And have this be 3/4 of an inch. Actually, I get 2 of them, but that'll be for the inside of the card. So I'll just set this other piece aside. And then I just want another 3/4 inch, or is this a 1/2 inch? Let's see what we have here. No, it's 3/4 of an inch by 2 inches. And this is going to be that little part to go under our sentiment. And I picked out another sentiment here. This one is hello. Okay. And then I think we're good to go. So I'm ready to start now. What am I going to change before I put this card together? And I have the center. This is just 4 by 5.25 inches. That is my card insert. So I'm just going to set that over the side here. All right, so I'm all done using my punches. We can get those out of our way. All right, so the first thing I'm going to change is I want to add something more to the card front. And I've decided that I am going to do some embossing. So I liked this embossing folder called Starstruck. Now, this is not a 3D one. It's just regular. And remember, the top is always where you can see the Stampin' Up! Logo. So I'm going to open this up. Hello, Sue, and hi, Kathy. Another Kathy. Thanks for joining the broadcast today. All right, I'm just going to go run this through my Stampin' Emboss machine. Cut and emboss machine, I guess. And just a reminder, whenever we use this in the cut and emboss machine, you always put the side that the fold is on through first. And then we've got our embossed image here. So we can put that right on the front. So that's one change I can make. And so if I decided to leave this like this, you know, we would have the white texture. And we'd be putting our pieces on here. So that's one way we can change this. And that looks quite a bit different than no card front or texture, right? But I'm going to change something else before I put this together. I want to add some more color behind here. And I'm going to continue with my monochromatic design here. I'm just going to bring a piece of scrap paper out. I'm actually going to take the strawberry slush because, like I said, I'm going to keep this monochromatic. And I'm going to bring in my blending brush. And so I'm just going to lightly Get a little ink on my brush. And I'm going to start off of this a little bit, kind of get some of that ink to go away. And I am going to do some blending. I'll tell you, I'm on this blending kick. You guys that have been watching me every week, you know this is my thing now. And I think it adds so much. All right, there. Just enough to make things interesting, right? Maybe I need to get a little darker over here. Okay. So I'll set this to the side. Now to clean this, I'll just rinse it with water. But I'm going to set it to the side for now. Okay, so now I'm ready to put this on my card front. So I'm just going to turn it upside down here and put my glue on. Now that even looks different than just the white, right? Okay, so now let's put our pieces together on here and see how this looks. So we're going to kind of center this. So I am just going to glue this on in the center. Yeah, just try to do that straight. All right, and then I'm going to go with my next piece. And I'm going to glue that down. And then the third piece, actually this one I'm going to go ahead and pop up to add some interest. Now you could call this, well, I guess it was popped up on the other card too, so it's not a change. Okay. So I'm going to, I think I'm going to keep it off to the corner here a little bit. Okay, now I want to round these corners. And this is a little bit thicker than the other card. That's still not my additional change. But let me use my corner rounder on this. Now you could use your scissors or you can use the corner rounder. That kind of got a little wonky. That even got wonkier. I'm going to use my scissors. It's too small to get in there the way that I want it to. Let's see. I might have to start over with this. Because I just wanted to round the corners. Yeah, I'm not liking the way this is looking. Let's fix that. Let's take this at about 2 inches. Let's see where that is on here. Here we go. This doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to cut it right there. Okay, and you know, very easy just to cut the corners off and to get this rounded. Kind of doing the rounded rectangle look. Kind of just takes the sharp edges off. Okay, there we go. That was just my fussy cut scissors I did that with. Okay, and now I want to take this hello. See how this kind of gets lost on here? So that's why I wanted to put it on the designer series paper so it wouldn't be lost. Just a little glue on the ephemera sentiment. Hello. And I'm going to pop this up as well. So let's just put that upside down. Okay, and put this in the same position as was suggested in the card sketch. So then on the inside, I'm going to do the same thing here, but I'm going to do a little bit of what I did on the front, and I don't even have to apply ink. I'm just going to leave a little on here and just go around the edges just to make this look a little bit different than if it were just solid white. These blending brushes really add. Okay, let's just put a little glue in here. And then I'm going to glue that on the inside. And see how that blending brush just adds a little something on the inside. And now the third thing that I'm going to change to step this up, if you will. Let me get these other items out of the way here. One of the other things that match the in colors is they have some beautiful gems. And these are called flat pearls. And they are so pretty. So I am going to take the strawberry slush and I'm going to add them to the card. And the thing that I'm going to do is take this middle one and I am going to make that the center of that flower. And then I'm going to take two small ones and decide where I'm going to put them on the card. Let's see. I think, I always try to go in somewhat of a triangle. I'm going to put it for the center of that flower. And then I'm going to do one more, and I think I'll just kind of put it in the center of the card. So you can see that just adding the gems really changes the way this looks as well. So let me just slide that off to the side. And here's two cards. Now, this is using the same products, but a little additional going on in this card, but you can see that they look different, okay? And for the pieces of this, I just wanted to, if you want to take a screenshot, here are the measurements for the basic pieces that I'm using on this card design. Now I'm going to use the same sketch, but significantly step up. What you're going to see is the result. And before I do that quick, I just want to remind you that this month I am still giving away a free 4-card tutorial with Peaceful Garden. And if you order at least $50 worth of Stampin' Up! Products, I email this to you at the end of the month. And, plus you'll earn your Stampin' Rewards, and you can use any designer series paper with this. What you have is instructions that are very specific about how to design your cards and measurements, etc. So this is a great bonus. And also, I'll just remind you, if you get in color, you get 15% off that as well. So without further ado, let me show you the next card, because you'll see that it is remarkably different. And I decided to pick a totally different set of designer series paper. And this is the beautiful Gallery. Now, this paper is amazing as far as I'm concerned. So let me just show you. This is landscape paper. It is floral paper. It is like vintage wallpaper. More flowers. Look at the sketch art. More landscape. More landscape. This is actually like a sketch tree. Oh, this reminds me of Door County, my favorite place in the world. Some more florals, and then a cabin scene. And then there's 48 pieces of paper in this too, but let me just flip these over because they all have different types of backgrounds that can also be used. Okay, so that just kind of gives you a little sense of what that all looks like. All right, so I'm going to show you the 3 pieces that I decided to use for this same card sketch. So I decided that I wanted to go with florals and that I liked these muted colors because I wanted to add some background stuff. So let me show you the things that I did and changed on this. I decided this time I was going to use a stamp set. So I picked Thoughtful Expressions, and I picked it because I liked the florals that, kind of go with the floral and muted look of this. That's why I thought, that's kind of nice. I have 2 different kind of things I could choose from, and I liked that this was a skinny sentiment, just like the sketch. So let's take a peek at this card. Now this is the same sketch. So I decided though this time I did do a smaller background. So this was actually 5 inches by 3 3/4. And that was just the more soft muted designer series paper. Then I wanted to do that oval, but I made it a little smaller, and I actually used the modern oval punch that I had. I thought that's a perfect, rounded rectangle. So why not just use a punch that makes, some of this a little faster? Cutting the rectangle and using your corner rounder, is kind of fast, but this is all in one punch. And then I did a 2 inch, and then I got out my 2 1/4 inch punch to actually back this up with Mossy Meadow to make this actually, kind of match frame and frame around my design. And then I did a little bit bigger punch here so that I could see more of this stamped image. I wanted another floral, but it looks like it's more the whole flower. Okay, and then the other thing I decided was I wanted to do either ribbon, or I ended up using this Baker's Twine Essentials pack, and these are all neutrals. And I kind of picked this lightest, beige, if you will, to be my, Baker's Twine. And I wrapped it around 3 times, and I tied the bow. Now, I wanted this to spread out. So the thing that I did on the back of this before I mounted the designer series paper on the front of the card, I flipped this over and I put a piece of Scotch tape to hold this in place. And then I did the same on this side where I wanted them to be wider so that they'll stay in place like that. And then I did use designer series paper to put my sentiment from the stamp sets, and I'm using Mossy Meadow, which matches the frame for both of these stamping things. And then I did the same thing as I did before. I glued this down to the front, glued this down. This is actually the whole card front that I added was glued down after I wrapped it with the Baker's Twine. And then the other thing was adding the embellishments. And these embellishments are actually from last Christmas. They're called, it was part of the Sentimental Christmas Suite. So I don't know if you have these. They're called Druzy Adhesive Backed Embellishments. And they're in like a silver and a gold. And I thought that really, matched what I was doing here. And then on the inside, instead of just putting regular cardstock in here, this is actually designer series paper. And then I stamped the foliage on the inside. And so, to do your envelope, I would actually do a very vanilla envelope instead of white. And you could pick any of these beautiful muted colors, that are used in this design as your envelope flap. Now that would really step it up. So here are just 3 examples of the same sketch, but how you can make them look so different. And one of the design features that I'm doing in the Sketch and Go program, which is going to be coming available pretty soon, it's coming soon, is 1 sketch per every 4 weeks. And then I'm going to be sharing with you the next 3 weeks different cards that look totally different and show you how you can move from a basic design to an intermediate design to a stepped up design to using different techniques on your cards to doing something for a different occasion, to learn new techniques, and how you can modify the design itself, all with one very simple idea. And my goal, once again, is to help you become more comfortable and also, let your creativity soar when it comes to doing card design, but giving you something to start with. So the first card design, the sketch that you get, will have a video about how to put the card together and a written tutorial. And the next 3 weeks will have additional card designs with written tutorials. So I'm very excited to get this out and available to you. And if anyone is interested and wants to get information early, just please email me your email address at Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com. That's Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com. And for individuals that get on this, I want some information early on this. For people then that get that, they're going to get a special opportunity for 2 additional bonuses, which will be coming out soon. So if you're interested in even taking a look at this and maybe interested in learning more, and if it's something you want, getting 2 additional bonuses, just send me your email address and I will get you in this list. There have been a number of people that have already indicated that to me in the weekly email that I've been sending out about this. And I'm really excited. And as I was building this and seeing your excitement too, I decided to be adding some bonuses. So with that being said, that takes care of that. And the last thing I'll just mention is kind of with all of this and, knowing that card making is our priority. Next week on August, gosh, it's not November yet, 27th, I'm going to be doing a card challenge, and it's free. It's actually a card challenge crop. It's going to be a 2-hour work time for us together, and I'll be sharing the card challenge as a part of getting ready for that crop. All you have to do is register, and you'll be seeing that information coming out this week. And that's so I can send you the Zoom link, because when we're in the 2-hour crop, it's live. We can talk to each other. I can answer your questions. You can share what you're doing with each other. And then there's also going to be an opportunity to win a prize by posting the card that you've created from the card challenge. And so I think that's going to be a whole lot of fun. And it's going to come right after our card making lesson so it must be Wednesday. It's on Wednesday, the 27th. So at 1:00, I'll do a little bit more on this card sketch so you can even see more changes that can be done to an individual card sketch. And then we're going to go into that card challenge crop Like I said, it's free, but you will have to register. And that'll be from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time next Wednesday. So, any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I appreciate your letting me know if you liked this presentation today by sharing a thumbs up or some love, and also sharing this with your friends. So, with that, I will say thanks again for joining me today. Happy stamping during this next week, and I can't wait to see you again next week, Wednesday. So take care, friends. Bye-bye now.